last night I watched a couple of TV shows, it being Sunday night, like most Americans. I ate dinner, watched TV, meaning, movie shows. And one of the shows I've come to like over the years, on and off, is Homeland on Showtime. I did like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like Carrie's bipolar behavior. It was overplayed. The lead star is always fetching and crying and reaching for pills and this and that. It's too hysterical. But last night's show was very good on Homeland. It's about the U.S. government sending in the FBI to arrest a talk show host who the female president of the United States wants arrested because he violated her sensibilities. And the interchange between the national security advisor, played by the schleppy Saul, who is the hero of the show. He wrote himself in now that he's a producer. He's a big shot now that he's got the big billing there, Saul Berenson. He's already the hero. So he's the reasonable one. He goes and talks to O'Keefe, the talk show host. First, they bring the FBI in with 5 SUVs, sharpshooters, guns, to a little house somewhere in the South that's protecting him from the government, who's out to arrest him. He did nothing wrong, by the way, the talk show host. What this show, Showtime, is showing is what would have happened if Hillary won, or what would happen if Dianne Feinstein were president. There'd be no free speech. She'd find rules to eliminate free speech. The First Amendment would go, Second Amendment would go, Fourth Amendment would go. What amendments would remain? I guess you'd have to turn to China to see which amendments would be allowed to stay. That's where she would draw some of her inspiration from. So in the scene from Homeland, the talk show host O'Keefe is protected on a little, I wouldn't say ranch house, a country farmhouse with some guys toting rifles. In other words, they look just like the original American settlers. And then there's the oppressive government of ours in this show that looks very much like the oppressive British with the muskets, out to arrest the free speaker. So there's a fabulously written and acted and directed interchange between the national security advisor, played by this guy Saul Berenson, represented by the character Saul Berenson, and O'Keefe, the talk show host, who's very outspoken. O'Keefe is based upon several talk show hosts currently operating in America, and mainly, I would say, Alex Jones and myself. He sounds like Jones and myself. He projects like Michael Savage and Alex Jones. So he's modeled on us. And what the writers of the series have done is project what would have happened had Hillary won. That's why they put a female president in, a real fascist. She hates the military. She overrides the military. She tells the military what to do. And she loves rocking and rolling against any man in the show. She's just mean through and through. A mean, nasty, Xenon-like feminist from you-know-where. So she wants this talk show host arrested, as I said. So she sends out the FBI to get him. And Saul plays, the reasonable Abraham figure. And he says, oh, let me talk to him. I don't want any blood. I don't want anyone shot. Let me talk to him. So they set up a conversation between the fictionalized national security advisor in this show and the talk show host, who they're trying to get to come in peacefully. The minute I come back, I'm going to play for you this piece. It's so good, or I wouldn't do it, from the show Homeland, where the oppressive government confronts a talk show host and wants him to give himself up. He didn't do anything, though. You'll hear what he says. He says, all I did was exercise my First Amendment rights. And then the silk-smooth Saul, the bearded Middle Eastern Saul, tries to present himself as the reasonable one, saying, no, you didn't. You derailed the First Amendment. You got to hear this interchange. You'll love it. Remember what we're talking about. The big news of the day in the media. The big news of the day still on the Drudge Report, on Breitbart, on michaelsavage.com. The minute I return, right here on the Savage Nation. So the big news of the day, if you want to talk about it, is the school shooting, and I'm not going to talk about it right now. There's nothing more I can add to the discussion. It's heartbreaking. I've given you my opinions on that last week. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Right now I'm talking about something else. How California goes, unfortunately, is how the nation goes. California has dropped off the edge of the United States of America. It's a world unto itself, and not a very pretty world to live in. I lived here since 1974. I love the geography of the state. Politically, it's the worst place on the planet. It's a one-party system. It's a prison. It is a prison state if you have a free mind. So on Friday, I asked my audience that if I left radio and ran as an independent for the U.S. Senate against Dianne Feinstein, what do you think the vermin on the left and the newspapers in each city owned by the vermin on the left, the state Democrat machine, what would they say about Savage? Well, they've already done it. They've already taken their best shot. The vermin have come out of the woodwork already. Didn't ask me about any of my belief systems. What is it that you stand for, Michael, that you'd like to run on? Right away, they bring up something I said 20 years ago. Let me tell you something about that right now. Even if it's on tape, the way it is presented is fake news. I'll say that again. It's fake news because it attempts to distort who I am, what I stand for, and my Herculean achievements as an immigrant son. You can't define me by one statement I made on a television show, but that's what the vermin on the left will try to do. So I say, come and get it. Come and get it. I never steered contracts to a family member while I sat in the Senate, did I? I didn't let my city die in front of my eyes, did I? I didn't sit quietly while Kate Steinle was dead in the streets and I made believe it didn't happen because it didn't meet my narrative of wonderful immigrants from Mexico who all come here to work. I have a Herculean past, and I will not be defined by the vermin on the left, no matter what they play or don't play. Nobody is perfect. They're not going to determine my legacy. My accomplishments are many. And now I want to go to what I was telling you about. There's a show called Showtime, seen in Homeland. Government confronts talk show host. They want to take him in and arrest him. The interchange between the National Security Advisor character and him is worth listening to as we play it now, because it tells you everything you need to know about this country and where it will go unless the Hillary Clinton types are shown for what they are. Fascists in high heels. Listen carefully.
It'll be a slow week in Washington if the president sends her new national security advisor down here. You don't have anything better to do? Defeat ISIS, bring peace to the Middle East.
Most urgent national security issue right now is you.
Me? Really? Wow. Just so we're clear. All I've done, all I am doing, is exercising my First Amendment rights, for which I have been slandered, persecuted.
How about getting down off that high horse? Just the two of us here.
Just the two of us, huh? There are federal sharpshooters out there right now. Jesus, I can practically feel the gun sights. One false move. Pow. Nobody's gonna shoot you, O'Keefe.
Not yet, anyway.
Then lose the rifles.
Just as soon as your people do.
Well, that hardly seems fair, does it?
Well, I'm not the one breaking the law.
I beg your pardon.
Isn't that what you're doing?
Well, I like to think I'm filling a void. The one vacated by the walking dead and decrepit media.
Come on, you're smart. You don't really believe that?
Oh, I do. I do. People are angry.
So you keep saying. Maybe they'd be a little less angry and a little more reasonable, these people, if you stop peddling your outright falsehoods, conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Seriously. You're poisoning the conversation.
What conversation? We haven't had a conversation in this country for 50 years. Not since these people, as you keep calling them, got sent to fight the war in Vietnam. Not since their children were bused to schools in the ghetto. Not since their jobs were shipped overseas. Not since the Christian values they cherish were trashed and ridiculed in favor of every boy who thinks he's a girl or girl who thinks she's a boy. Well, that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Every one of those things you just mentioned is worth talking about. Debating.
Hear, hear.
Instead, you're out there accusing the president of murdering General McClellan, calling for a revolution.
Hey, I serve my audience.
That's your answer?
That's the American way. Nothing ever got done in this country by civil discourse alone. The loud get heard. They always have.
they also fall the hardest.
Come and get me. Go ahead. Send in the stormtroopers. We'll see what happens. The world is watching.
Not for long.
What do you mean?
Once we shut down your broadcast, jam your communications, you'll be completely cut off. Here's the truth. You will never be in a stronger negotiating position than you are right now.
All right, so you got the key words there. So the government's threatening to shut down the broadcast of this character in the Showtime program called Homeland. And that's what would have happened had Hillary won. That's what will happen if the Democrats take back the House in 2018. That's exactly what Feinstein wants, because she's on record saying she wants the fairness doctrine, which means she wants to control what is allowed to be heard in this nation. So you want Feinstein, you want Lenin, you want Trotsky, one to the left of the other. You want fascism, all you good liberals. You don't believe in fair and open debate, do you? Because you can't win an argument when you actually are forced to argue. Oh, you can call anyone a Nazi that you want. You can call them any name you want, but you're not going to win an argument. So here we are. Exclusive. Talk legend Savage unveils platform for possible California Senate run. Build wall, English-only voting, cut taxes, and others. It's all there on Breitbart. It's up on Drudge from an earlier iteration. It's still there with me in the hat. Senator Savage, talk host, teases run. First came out from the good people, Joshua Kaplan, who will be with us in the next hour, by the way, from Gateway Pundit. I never met Mr. Kaplan. I'm shocked there's anyone in the media who listens to the show and takes the show for what it is, which is very seriously. And they quoted me accurately, and it made the news. Radio legend Michael Savage says people are pushing him to run against Senator Feinstein.